Good morning you guys and welcome to today's video. Today is the last day of November, which means we are in for a November wrap up with our book list. Today, however, we're not gonna do a December TBR because we already chose our Christmas list and our 10 before the end. So we are in only for our November wrap up. So without further ado, let's get on with this video and take a look at what happened in our November. So in the month of November, we actually finished 6 books. However, it was not the best month for me on a reading aspect of my life. We did have 2 DNFs, which hasn't happened in a very long time. However, on the bright side, we had 2 arcs that we actually read, and one of them was really good, so I was super happy about that. So let's get on to this video and let's talk about what exactly happened and what books did we actually read. So the first book that we finished in November is our beloved Every Spiral of Fate by Tahira Mafi. This is this Woven Kingdom series and this is book number 4. I'm not gonna lie, I did have to go back and kind of research a little bit what was the story on the book, because it's been so long since I've read the previous book, so I couldn't remember the story. However, I gave this one a 4.5 stars. I absolutely devoured this book. I absolutely loved it. The yearning in this book from the main male character was just something else, and the plot twist was actually so good. That was insane and shocking. So it was good, okay? So let me read you my review on Goodreads. I give this one a 4.5 stars. The characters are really believable, they change and grow. There's a diverse representation. They are very likable, multi-layered, they are very original, and the relationships between the characters are actually insane and really strong, which it's something that I really like in a fantasy. There's also a very strong villain, which presents as someone so mysterious, and honestly I absolutely loved it. Regarding the plot, I give that part 5 stars, and it's really action-packed, addictive. The clever plotting is really present, and honestly I couldn't ask for something better. It was fast-paced at times, but not too fast. It was action-packed, so it actually worked very well, and as you go along in the book you have a lot of action and things happening at the same time, which is really good. The ending was a bit predictable, but it was still very satisfying. It was predictable in a way that you knew what it was leading up to, and when you started getting the cues, it was easy to guess what was going to happen. However, it was still a very good ending, honestly, and very suspenseful, which I absolutely loved. Regarding the structure of the book, it's on a chronological order, and it's honestly my favorite kind of structure in a book. I absolutely loved it. Regarding the setting, we are waiting for something atmospheric, mystical, magical, a very fantastical setting with dragons, magic, jinn, and several different kind of species, and it's honestly very easy to emerge in this kind of setting for this book, and I absolutely love that. Regarding the author's writing style, it's extremely beautifully written. I absolutely love her writing. It's just so flowery and so magical that it's so special, and I absolutely love that. There's also very important parts in the book that are described in a more special way, which makes you highlight those kind of parts, and I honestly love that about her writing. For this series, would I recommend it? Yes, I would. I absolutely love it, and it's honestly one of the best series I've read. So if you are into fantasy, dragons, magic, and you want something spicy but at the same time super fun and super mysterious, this is the book for you. On our next book, we actually finished Metal Slinger by Rachel Snyder. And honestly, I've wanted to read this book for so long, and I was so happy that I got a chance to do it. So let me tell you how exactly that went. So I gave this one 5 stars. And let me tell you, my favorite thing about this whole book was the plot. The plot was just something else. I've never read anything like it. It was honestly insane. And again, like you know me, I've never, ever, ever would have guessed that was going to be the end. It was actually insane on a good way. So for this book, my review was the plot twisted so hard that I'm not even sure if I read the book correctly. By the end of it, I literally looked at the book and I was like, how did I miss this massive plot twist? Because it was actually massive. I'm absolutely shell-shocked. I'm so speechless with this turn of events that it's not even funny. What a masterpiece. This book is absolutely everything. Gripping from start to finish, amazing characters, beautiful world building, and a genius plot twist. So overall, this is my review. Regarding the characters, they were really believable. They were very well structured. I thought they changed and grow. However, you can see at the end that they are very, very developed characters and there's so much more to them and they are so multi-layered that you don't get all the information you need or the information you want in one book. So we are waiting for Lightwielder, which is going to be the second book in the series. I also put a very strong relationship between the characters, a strong villain, and honestly, I completely missed who the villain was in the whole story. And I was absolutely shocked and I did not know what to do with myself after that. I also put the unforgettable protagonist, which was the main female character, and I absolutely love her. Talk about female empowerment. This woman, honestly, she is absolutely fantastical. I love her. Regarding the plot, it was really addictive, it was really fast-paced, it was really action-packed, and I loved all of that in fantasy series. They were suspenseful about on the chapter, in the last, not the last chapter, but the one before that. That's when you realize the plot, and I think in that moment it became very, very suspenseful. Up until that, it was just really action-packed and story-oriented, but from that moment on, it just became really, really suspenseful, like what is going to happen, and I absolutely loved it. And obviously a very unpredictable and very clever plotting twist in the book. Regarding the settings, I think it was really beautiful. It was very descriptive, and that is very important in this book. I thought it made the whole difference, just so you can picture every single thing that happens in the book. Honestly, it's just really good. It also has a mystical and magical setting, which I love, and it's to be expected in a fantasy romance, on a romance basically. However, I think the best part of the setting was indeed just the descriptions. They were really good but not too heavy, and that makes you like create the whole setting while you're reading, and the description of the characters are actually insane. However, it was so well written that it doesn't give you too many clues throughout the book about what is actually going to happen, and that is something very hard to achieve, which I think Rachel did very well. And the writing style is a very simple, straightforward writing, which it's really good, and it's not very heavy. Even though the book is big, you can read it very easily, and I did. I read this in about a week between work, which is really good for me, and I absolutely loved it. And just so to give you a taste, on the back we have one sentence from one of the characters, and it says, "You are kind of beautiful when you lie." And I'll leave you with that, and you do whatever you like with it. But if I were you, I would read this book because it's honestly insane. The third book that we read in November was actually an arc that was sent to me through NetGalley, and honestly, I absolutely loved it. I could not believe how fast I went through this book. It took me 23 hours while I was working, so that is absolutely insane. So we have a Pretty Vicious. I'll pop it up in here. So we have Pretty Vicious by Lexi Davis. This book is a dark romance, kind of dark academia, suspenseful, and cult-like society. And I wanted something different because I was into fantasy at the moment. But I wanted something different, and I chose this arc to start with. We have quite a few for the month of November, for the month of December actually, and January. So we started to go through them in November, and this was the first one, and I absolutely loved it. It's a dark, like I cult-like society with a very unexpected plot twist. However, it's giving me overall impressions of the cat and the mouse duet. So it's good, but let me tell you. So I give this one 5 stars. This book comes out on the 30th of January, if I'm not mistaken. Correct me if I'm wrong, which I actually might be, which is really, really bad, but let me tell you, it comes out on 13th of January, like I said, so I was correct. And this book, I gave this one 5 stars, and my honestly review was, honestly love this book. It was captivating since day one, read it in 24 hours. Gives vibes of the cat and the mouse duet, but younger, with a more twisted society. Absolutely brilliant. Light and fun writing, easy to follow and engaging. The world building is quite objective and easy to understand, not too complicated scenery applied. Characters are my favorite part, so interestingly constructed and multi-layered. So overall, it was a really good book. It's really fast paced and you go through it very, very quick, just because the author's writing is so light and fresh, and I absolutely love that. It contrasts very well with a kind of dark romance and dark setting with a light writing, and not every author can do that, so she did that incredibly well. I absolutely loved it. Like I said, the characters were so interesting to read and to learn about. They are so multi-layered and there's so much more to them than what initially appears, and it was my favorite part to go through the book and get to know each one of the characters. It was honestly so fun. Another thing that I also loved was that regarding the content warnings, the list is big, and there's an entry from the author reminding you that mental health comes first. So if you're not into this kind of content, just don't go into this book. However, if you like the cat and the mouse duet, if you like all of those kind of very dark romances and very dark societies, this is absolutely the book for you. I promoted and I spoke a little bit about the plot and what more or less what happens in that book in my TikTok. So if you want to take a look, just pop into my other socials and take a look into what I said about the book. But I honestly loved it. If you want to read something in the dark romance category, I would recommend this book for you. It's a lovely book to start 2026, and honestly, I hope you love it as much as I do. I'm waiting very, very impatiently for book number 2, and I cannot wait, because the plot twist was actually really good. I had my suspicions, but I was not really sure. And then the end came, the plot plotted, and it was so good. So just go take a look into her work and enjoy her book. Up next, we went into another arc, which, my mistake, I did not understand what the book was about. So this one was a really bad one for me. I DNF'd the book in about 6%, I think. I really did try, and I think for the type of book or the gender that it is, if you are into something like that, it's really good for you. However, it was not a book for me. There was nothing wrong with the author, there was nothing wrong with the book, it's not my style. So we have Wolf Form by T. Kingfisher, and this is a horror science fiction, and I honestly thought it would be more a fantasy book. I don't know why. When I got the arc, I honestly thought it would be more of a fantasy book, and then I started reading and it was not adding up in my head, like, where is this going with? So I DNF'd it. Not because the book is bad. So if you are into, for the kind of reviews that I saw, the book is actually really good. So if you are into kind of horror books and science fiction, just take a look at it. If you like it, good, amazing. Give your feedback to the author and support her work. For me, unfortunately, it was not the book. Last but not least, we have Uncharmed by Lucy Jane Wood, and this one broke my heart. If you have been following me here or on my other socials, you know that I read and now Rewitch by the same author. So this is book number 2 of that series. The first book, I found it very hard to move on because I found the writing very dense, very hard to follow, but I made it through. I powered through the first book and I finished it. I don't know, I expected something a little bit more different for the second book, but it's exactly the same. However, I don't think the plot is as interesting. I'm on page 110, which 110? No, 112, which is chapter number 9. And honestly, I thought I would love this book. It's pink, it's cute, it's very girly, it has magic, romance, friendships. I honestly thought I would love it, but I don't. I've been on the same chapter for a week. I cannot get a read on this book. I honestly am struggling so much. So today I decided to DNF it and move on to another book because I just can't. I'm really heartbroken because I really wanted to finish the series, and maybe one day later I'll come back and try again. At the moment, it's definitely not the book for me, and I'm so heartbroken. I heard the story was good, but I just I cannot get into it. I don't know how to explain it. I don't know why. All I want to do is read the last chapter and say done and just know what happens at the end, and that's it. I have absolutely no connection to the characters. I have absolutely no connection to the story and to the plot that might be in it. I haven't connected with it, and that's really hard for me to move on in a book when that happens. So I'm really sorry. I did try my best, but it's not working for me. So I DNF this one, and I believe we are at 27%. So these were the 2 last books of November, and they absolutely broke my heart. So we are kind of going downhill in our book journey. And honestly, that makes me so sad. So yeah, that was just, it's heartbreaking. So, but if you like this book, just maybe leave it in the comments and on my socials. Give me your feedback, tell me exactly what happened, tell me how good it is, and maybe I will be back into it. But for now, it's gonna be in my shelf and it's gonna be on my DNF list. That was our November wrap up. It started very well, very promising, and ended up not as great as I hoped. However, it was still a good month of reading, and I ended up having 6 books in total, which is really good for me, and I'm really proud of myself. I am also really proud of stopping the books when I cannot continue with them, because I struggle a lot with that, and I just keep pushing until I can't do it, and sometimes it's just not possible. So I was really proud that I actually recognized that I couldn't do it, and the books were giving me absolutely nothing, and that I had to stop. So I'm really proud for that. But this was our November wrap up. It was not perfect, but it was good, it was honest, and it was ours. That's the most important thing. So if you like this kind of content, just let me show you. So if you like these kind of books, and if you have any opinions, just leave them in the comments down below. I'm happy to see your reviews and your opinions on them. And if you like any kind of content related to books, just take a look at my TikTok. And also, if you want to know about me and my life, just take a look at my Instagram. But if you are interested in more in-depth book reviews, take a look at my Goodreads, and don't forget to take a look at my Fable. I post in both daily, and I love it, and I love to interact with you guys. We also coming up to December, which is tomorrow, and this means we are opening our first ever Christmas book club. So we have a selection of 5 books that we're gonna read. We divided them between weeks, so the weeks are posted there with the books, and if you want to join me and read these books with me, you are so welcome. I would love to get you there and meet you. So if you love this kind of content, just give it a thumbs up, subscribe my channel, and I'll see you in the next one. I love you guys so much. Bye.